From the views on the street,
we go to bed empty hunger,
to the blaring horns of a hustling city, the loudest voices of the common man got a medium to be heard.
This particular administration, they were coming unprepared.
It's not a bad thing to renovate the president's lodge.
Through top-notch programming, unbiased reportage of news, sports, business, entertainment, and cultural documentaries, Voice of the People 90.3 FM became a symbol for 21st century media. And now, a new baby is born. Voice of the People Television, VOP TV, youthful, full of vigor and penchant for excellence in the continent's media space, exposing the wrongs, applauding the rights, dissecting the news without fear or favor, through factual and accurate stories and contents.
Corruption kills three things that makes a society.
Representing the interests of the people and giving them a voice. Voice of the People TV is here to stay towards building a fair society. VOP TV, Voice of the People Television, truly a voice for the people.
Behind every broken desk lies a broken promise. Education shapes the nations. But who is asking the right questions? Introducing Edu Dialogue, the show that goes beyond the surface, exposes the cracks, the corruption, and the silence in Nigeria's education system. Edu Dialogue, Saturdays, 3 p.m., only on VOP TV. We break the biggest stories, from missing funds to policy failures. We ask the tough questions and demand real answers. Edu Dialogue, this Saturday, 3 p.m. on Voice of the People Television.
In a world where power shapes with every headline,
in a nation full of questions,
in a world filled with noise, the truth needs a voice.
The policies that shapes our world and the economy that determines our future.
Every hour, every day, the grapevine keeps buzzing.
And together, we are committed to telling the stories that shape our world, because your voice is our focus.
Don't forget, our voice matters the most. Let us come together and share our concerns.
Big news this year. Your favorite Voice of the People television station is now on free to air on Nigecomsat. All you need to do is align your dish using the following: orbit position 40.5 degrees east, 12.685 GHz, 30,000 kilobytes per second. Polarized vertical, frequency 2, 12.731 GHz, symbol rate 26,250 kilobytes per second. Polarization H. This works on any decoder. Catch up to 100 channels, sports, movies, news, all for free. This is with better quality at no extra cost. VOP TV on Free TV. Now you have more than a voice.
Welcome to the locker room, the home of football talk that matters. I am Jerry Apeon. Join us every weekday, Monday to Friday at 5 p.m. Nigerian time, as we share the hot takes and all the
Big news this year. Your favorite Voice of the People television station is now on free to air on Nigecomsat. All you need to do is align your dish using the following: orbit position 40.5 degrees east, 12.685 GHz, 30,000 kilobytes per second. Polarized vertical, frequency 2, 12.731 GHz, symbol rate 26,250
and 50 kilobyte per second. Polarization H. This works on any decoder. Catch up to 100 channels, sports, movies, news, all for free. This is with better quality at no extra cost. VOPTV on Free TV. Now you have more than a voice.
In a world where power shifts with every headlines, news breaks and events happens, we bring you unbiased and explicit information on politics, economy and state of the nation. We break down the chaos. Facts, not fluff. Truth, not spin. We discuss not just politics, but a glimpse into the future. Voice of the People Television. Now you have more than a voice.
That 10 seconds you save by crossing the road could cost you your life. Pedestrian bridges are built for one reason: to keep you safe. They are free, they are strong, and they are there to protect you. Dashing across expressways leads to injuries, loss, and grief that last forever. Using the bridge takes less than 1 minute. Losing a loved one lasts a lifetime. Parents, teach your children. Drivers, slow down near bridges. Everyone, please use the pedestrian bridge every time. Your life is worth the climb. This message is from Voice of the People's Television.
What happens in the hush behind hangar doors? Who signs the papers that gamble with lives? Which truths were grounded before they even ever had wings? If you've ever buckled a seatbelt at 30,000 feet, if you've ever stared out of that tiny window and wondered who's really in control of the skies, it isn't just flight, it's power, it's politics, it's pressure sealed in steel. We're peeling back the clouds from runway risks to sky-high secrets. We're diving deep where most dare not to look. Aviation Scope, every Sunday at 7 p.m. only on Voice of the People TV. We don't just report, we reveal. We don't just ask, we uncover. Because when it comes to the skies, ignorance is turbulence. Aviation Scope, the sky isn't the limit, it's just the beginning.
The rains are here. They bring relief. Green fields.
A very good morning to you and welcome to another episode of the Morning Buzz on Voice of the People Television. I am Nenna Ndomdioto and I'm not alone. I have my colleague with me.
All right, you should be saying you are here with your guy. I think it's fine that way. All right, welcome to another edition of the Morning Buzz. My name remains Savior Udo, and of course, we're so excited to sit here today because we'll be judging both the Osun conversation, we're reacting to it, and we'll be talking about a lot of conversation here on our decks this morning, and of course, I hope until 1 p.m. Okay, so that's just like the approximate time that I can actually give you. Osun governorship election, tension mount over poll. And of course, we'll be taking the second conversation, 2027 certificate controversy. Article 6 Tinubu's disqualification over forgery claim.
Yeah, these are the major topics of discussion for us today. However, we also have other interesting and trending stories. But before we proceed, we urge you to kindly click on the subscription button and subscribe to YouTube channel on Voice of the People Television. And other social media platforms, we are at VOP TV Live. Also, we urge you to visit our website, www.vop.ng, for fresh and trending news. As Voice of the People Television, we always say that your opinion matters to us. Therefore, we encourage you to call and share your thoughts and reactions via WhatsApp on the number being displayed on your screen, because here, like we always say, you have more than a voice. Okay, let's move on to, one of the conversations that trended into yesterday, into today. A 19-year-old newlywed identified by the Bauchi State Police Command as Aisha Musa has been arrested for allegedly attempting to poison her husband barely 40 days after their marriage. Police say the incident occurred on August 12 in Wama Village, Bauchi local government area, when the suspect allegedly introduced a poisonous substance into her husband's meal. The alarm was raised later that evening following a distress call, prompting officers from the C Division, Tafawa Balewa Estate, to intervene. The victim was evacuated and taken to the Abubakar Tafawa Balewa University Teaching Hospital in Bauchi, where police say he is receiving treatment and is currently in stable condition. The police said the suspect was subsequently arrested and allegedly made a statement during interrogation admitting to the offense. Investigators also reportedly recovered an empty bottle suspected to have contained poison alongside remnants of the meal, which were registered as exhibits. The Commissioner of Police, Sani Omolori Aliyu, has directed that the case be transferred to the State Criminal Investigation Department for a discreet and thorough investigation, with prosecution expected after the investigation is concluded. While the circumstances and alleged motive behind the incident remain unclear, the case has raised concerns about domestic conflict and the need for the couples experiencing serious disputes to seek appropriate intervention rather than resort to violence. So, when I looked at the story, I asked myself, there are many things to bring into, into the conversation here. The fact that the girl is a very young person, 19 years old, and you would say you should not judge how a marriage will work by how young the person is. But I'll beg to differ with that statement, because a 19-year-old is barely a child. She just left adulthood like 1 year ago, as in just when she became 18. And I'm sure she doesn't even know so much about life. Marriage is not something that just anyone would delve into if you are not emotionally mature. Even those who are even 30 years old sometimes are not even emotionally mature. So for this particular incident, we don't even know what would have transpired between the lady and her husband that would have resulted to her doing, taking such a drastic step. Just barely 40 days into their marriage. It's not even up to 1 year. So you just begin to wonder, like, it just shows that there was no preparedness, really. Yes, there's really no amount of preparedness that one should have or one would have, going into marriage. But at least if you're emotionally mature, it still has a way of helping you. I'm talking from experience for someone who has been 10 years in marriage. But really, because you two people are coming from different backgrounds, there'll be issues. I had my own share of issues. I'm sure you had your own share of issues. And I don't know why you're holding your lips. Anyways, you don't want to talk. We all had our share of issues. But we've all been able to, manage this. And that is where marriage, that is what marriage is all about. That is what wisdom, that is what maturity brings into play. How can a 19-year-old be getting married in the first place? That's even the question we should even ask the parents. Yes, I understand that in that, in that region, young children are allowed to get married, but that shouldn't really be the case. I don't know, Xavier, if you want to chime into this conversation.
Okay, so first I have to say that it's quite alarming when we think of a girl-child marriage. First, we have to understand the fact that you have a program, as regards to you trying to sensitize, the girl child. And you know what it feels like for you to take it upon yourself to do that particular, project, and of course, that outreach. Now, when we look at, the Northeast and the North or West, I think they have the highest rates, aside from the North Central, they have the highest rates, talking from Jigawa to Katsina to Zamfara. They have the highest rate when it comes to, girl-child marriage. And because I've lived in these regions, over the years, and I can boldly tell you that it is a norm. First, these girls are married sometimes because of poverty from family. Second, these girls are married because of tradition, And now, when we look at these two cases I've mentioned, first, you have to understand that most families feel it is a norm to give their child out in marriage so they can actually get, some benefit from the in-law side. And that is about, the poverty line here. And they lace it with the tradition. And that's the reason why the law cannot really affect them, because most parts of the North practice Sharia law and not really the customary law. Do you understand? That being said, when we look at the point you mentioned as regards to, this girl is still young and now she's, married at 19. This is just 40 days. So she has not even gotten through the window of 2 years. Of course, we usually advise, a young couple between the first to second year of your marriage, there is always issues.
Yes.
Because both of you are coming from different backgrounds. That's one. Secondly, there's so many things you actually saw in your partner that you loved. But knowing fully well that I have to now start living with this person, waking up every day, that is another case. All of a sudden, your partner that you used to love, would come back from work, wear the shoes he wore outside and enter into the house. You don't like it. You see, as minute as that particular conversation, that can become another fresh issue.
Very true.
Now, it can even happen with toothpaste. Or you are pressing the toothpaste from the middle. You understand the paste. You were meant to pick it up from, from below and all of that. See, why I'm giving all of these particular, little examples is because it is normal to have issues, little misunderstanding, in the first to second year. Between third to fourth year, you're getting to know each other. Fifth year again, of course, there's a little shake again because everyone is now, there is what we call a sea finish to an extent. Okay, so when you get to that particular point, you have another issue. Sorry about that. So you have another issue. Now, that being said, when you allow a girl child to get married at that very, very young age, sincerely, it is not advised. It is not advised. A girl of 19 years being in a marriage, she doesn't even know how to handle crisis. She doesn't know how to handle situations. She doesn't know how to handle, a misunderstanding. To the best of her knowledge, the best way to handle the issue is for she to actually carry out whatsoever she did. You have to understand that sometimes we may have wrong friends. As young as she is, she can actually have young friends that would say, oh, if he's not looking it, just take action and do what you have to do. That being said, that's one. Secondly, we don't also know the age of this man. What if this girl is feeling so bad that she had to put up with someone that looks like a father? Now, we have to understand that we have several curses, that surround this girl-child marriage. But that being said, even when the marriage is being done, just like we have one that is just 40 days old, and of course, there is this particular issue of attempted murder, which she's above 18 now, so the law would prevail. But that being said, again, we have to understand that until we start putting these children back to school, making the girl child understand that she has equal rights in the classroom, then we will not be getting some things right in this country. Why should a girl of 18 to 19 be exposed to such marriage? Let me pick it precept upon precept. There's a place we call Esuyaya Garage, in Niger State, where we have 24 hours markets, 24 hours. Everything is done in 24 hours now. From there to Bida, I can assure you that if you want to start counting how many Almajiri's children between Esuyaya to Bida before you go out of that particular Bida to Suleja and you move to Abuja, you would lose count of Almajiri children. That's one. Secondly, I've had several things to do in that town in Niger State. And you would always see most children, I'm not saying some, which is above average, roaming. That's one. Secondly, we have what we call Funtua in Katsina. It's a market, one of the biggest, before going to Daura or you're going to Zamfara. And the same thing happens. They roam around in that market to come to you with little plates, Almajiris. I'm not condemning anyone here. But for everything I'm saying, it is still happening as at this morning in these areas. And these children are out of school. Some of them have not even, they've never been enrolled before. So they only go to the Juma, which is on Friday, the mosque, and, attend the Quran class. That's all. When we get to this particular point, we should hold ourselves accountable as a government. Should we keep this particular girl-child marriage on? Because a certain kind of law in the same country can shield it, or the tradition or the religion. Are you aware that the girl-child marriage has the highest rate of, maternal immortality? Yeah. Because they are too young.
Too young to actually even give birth.
To even give birth.
Yeah.
We're talking about 19 and we're quarreling already, right? We have 15. We have 14 in the north.
It's just very, very ridiculous.
So, I'm not taking a brief for the girl. I'm not making a case for her.
Make a case. Okay, for the girl. Okay, I thought you might say for the girl child.
No. I'm not making a case for that particular girl.
Oh, okay.
But I'm only making a case and taking briefs for Nigerian girl child. An African girl child, to be precise. We have to give them a life. The same way you can protect a girl child, and allow, the boy child to roam. That's the same way you have the freedom of saying, the boy child has to go to school and the girl child has to remain in the kitchen. No, we have to make this particular situation balance. That is my take, Nena, as regards to this. So over to you.
Well, you've made a very strong case for the girl child, which is very, very important. Because when you look at what's happening in those areas, you just ask yourself, you just see the level of suffering that a girl child, goes through. But let's move on to our next, conversation. A Korean woman has captured attention online after a video showing her enthusiastically embracing the atmosphere of a Nigerian wedding went viral on social media. The footage, shared by Kwan Clips, has sparked widespread reactions, with captions suggesting that the woman is enjoying the Nigerian wedding experience so much that she's reluctant to return to Korea. The viral moment has particularly drawn attention to the energy, dancing, and celebratory spirit associated with Nigerian weddings, with social media users joking about her apparent excitement and asking whether she's now fallen in love with the Nigerian wedding lifestyle. The video has since become another example of how Nigerian weddings and cultural celebrations continue to attract attention beyond the country with their colorful outfits, music, dance, and food, and large-scale festivities, often leaving first-time visitors fascinated. While the viral caption is presented humorously and there's no independent confirmation that the woman has actually decided to remain in Nigeria, the clip has generated significant online engagement and positive reactions. For many viewers, the episode is less about her literally refusing to leave Korea and more about the infectious atmosphere of Nigerian celebrations. You know, it's we're so sorry that we could not really give you that video, but Nigerian weddings, like we all know, has there's always this festivity that comes with it. There's always this atmosphere of joy, celebrations on all sides. The Igbos, the Yorubas, the Calabars, or should I say the Niger Deltas, even the Hausas in their own way also have a way of, making their weddings and the celebrations, very, very joyful, and, the atmosphere is always very nice. You get to see colorful ashwebis and all of that. That is what we Nigerians weddings are all about. And that's why many parents, even when their children say they don't want to, when they look at the Nigerian economy and they say they want to have small weddings, some parents would frown at that because they actually love it big. They love that celebration. They love that attention or that funfair, really, that Nigerian weddings come with. So I wouldn't really, blame the Korean woman who seems to have enjoyed herself so much. And it looks like she doesn't want to go back to her country and wants to stay back and enjoy our weddings. But, well, aside from weddings, we still have a lot of things to offer her. Don't you think so, Saviour?
When you use the word, we still have a lot of things to offer her. What exactly do you have?
We have things that Nigeria
No, sell your country. Go ahead. No, go ahead.
Nigeria has things to offer her.
Like what, please?
We have good tourist, sites.
Okay.
We have good tourist sites.
Where and where?
Oh, Saviour.
No. So the reason why
don't put me on the spot.
No, the reason why I'm intentional about that particular question of where and where is because if you're talking about the south,
yeah, your states.
No. When I mean the south, like covering both the west, east and south, is fine.
Okay.
But are you telling that Korean woman to go to go to somewhere in the north?
No,
now that being said, I think we have to understand that Nigeria has one of the best, culture, and of course, we have diverse of cultures here, and we know how to party. It is only in Nigeria that we can shut down a full street, which is, constitutionally legal, okay? But we can actually shut down a full street, and they will do it with their full chest. There is no issue. They block this other road, they block the other road, and what they just have to do is go and meet the state government or the local government and say, oh, how much are we to pay you? We want to block the street. And, we know how to party. And just like you talked about, that particular wedding situation where, sometimes you get to tell your family, oh, I don't want something elaborate. I don't want something big. But your family will tell you, hey, we gave birth to you. That is when your father will tell you, I am your father. I trained you to school. Do you know how you get to school? I will call my own munna and they will do that particular party. I believe they did it for you because I think you are Ada, right?
Yes, so. But Daddy literally had to print another, I printed 150 cards, but Daddy went to print another 150.
Yes, no, the 150 was for you. You understand? So the 150, the next 150 you will see is for Umunna. You understand? And your mom will say, Umada, oh God, I love, the Igbo culture. When it comes to this particular wedding thing, because, they will have the mother's night, the Umuna will do their thing and all of that. It's always colorful. And when you look at the Yoruba, as settings, where they have to have, the alagadros to do the first engagement before the reception. We all have cultures in this country, And of course, in the South, in as much as they say our bride price is much, but yes, we have lovely cultures. And when we talk about the northern wedding as well, are you aware that their wedding usually take 1 week?
Okay, I'm not.
Yeah, because they have different activities before, the Nekai.
Main day.
Yes.
Wow.
So nikah is even different. Then the main reception of the wedding is always, a dinner. That's why you see, mostly weddings are not being done in the evening. You understand? So, of course, we have diverse of, culture here. And I would advise the Korean woman to stay here and enjoy our country. You understand? I just advise her to stay. If she loves tourism, let her enjoy herself here. We have, and just for the records, there is no Saturday that we don't do parties here. Or let's say Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So you would always,
But
have yourself.
She will not get crash weddings. It's only the wedding that she's invited to that she can go.
Guess what? Do you know how many people that get crashed different weddings these days?
But these days we have bouncers at weddings. We have
the idea.
We have bouncers. We have they ask you, okay, the IV, whatever IV you're being given is just for one person.
Okay.
When you get to the gate, they ask you to show your the invitation, and then if you are not, they'll bounce you. No matter who you are.
Can I check with something? I've seen several people. I don't know how they do it, but I've seen
but
several people.
But their security is not tight. Their security is not tight. That's why.
I've seen several people at a particular function, and you would definitely know that this person was not invited.
Yeah, I guess.
And usually they enjoy the party more than the invited guests.
Because they will order for many plates. After eating first round, they ask for another round, and before you know it,
all they just look at is they check the table where they don't have more crowd, and
so then we will go home with some bottles of some
get souvenirs and all of that. What are you telling me? Is it about bouncers? What if you tell bouncers that I forgot the phone that they sent my IV?
But sincerely, I would say, why I said the security is not tight? Because we're out of time, really. I would have given you a jar. I'll give you behind the camera. But trust me, those any security, any person that allows great crashers, that security is not tight. I know what I'm saying.
Are you aware that we have gate crashers industry in this country?
Okay.
It's not a business. It is not a business.
Well, I didn't know about that.
But that was on the lighter note, actually.
Well, this is where we have to end, this particular segment. We'll go on a short break, and when we return, we'll bring newspaper review. So stay with us.
Big news is here. Your favorite voice of the people television station is now on free to air on Nigecomsat. All you need to do is align your dish using the following: orbit position 40.5 degrees east, 12.685 gigahertz, 30,000 kilobytes per second. Polarized vertical. Frequency 2, 12.731 gigahertz. Symbol rate 26,250 kilobytes per second. Polarization H. This works on any decoder. Catch up to 100 channels, sports, movies, news, all for free. This is with better quality at no extra cost. VOP TV on Free TV. Now you have more than a voice.
In a world where power shifts with every headlines, news breaks and events happens, we bring you unbiased and explicit information on politics, economy and state of the nation. We break down the chaos. Facts, not fluff. Truth, not spin. We discuss not just politics, but a glimpse into the future. Voice of the People Television. Now you have more than a voice.
That 10 seconds you save by crossing the road could cost you your life. Pedestrian bridges are built for one reason: to keep you safe. They are free, they are strong, and they are there to protect you. Dashing across expressways leads to injuries, loss, and grief that last forever. Using the bridge takes less than 1 minute. Losing a loved one lasts a lifetime. Parents, teach your children. Drivers, slow down near bridges. Everyone, please use the pedestrian bridge every time. Your life is worth the climb. This message is from Voice of the People's Television.
Glad to have you join us. It's still the morning buzz and voice of the People Television. Let's now look at what the papers have for us this morning. We begin with the first paper. We begin with the Punch newspaper. And the banner headline there, we have Osun poll, APC, Accord, wage 20,000 naira per vote war. And on the rider to that particular headline, we have 1,906,390 residents decide next governor today, and amid vote buying jamboree. Also, we have another rider there. I collected money from both parties in my polling unit. That's by a voter. Also, we have another rider there. Adeleke Oyebanji calms trade tackles over planned attacks. That's the sub-rider in that particular headline. Another headline we have just above the banner headline, we have helpless Borno families sell houses. We are on Punch newspaper. Borno families sell houses to pay ransom. And also we have just one of the headlines there. We have brutal fate, hunted to death. Brutal fate of vulnerable women, branded witches. Also, another headline we have there is sacked after 19 years work. My husband still in DSS detention. That's a wife. That's a testimonial by a wife or a wife, making that statement. Also, we have ex-Cambridge youngest black professor dies amid plagiarism scandal. Another headline we have there, Lakura terrorists kill 4 soldiers in Sokoto, and that's that for the Saturday Punch.
All right, moving to the Guardian weekend. The banner headline says, Osun poll, can federal ox crush Edes dove? All right, that's coming from, some analysts, of course, and the writers to that particular one says that Tinubu charges INEC to ensure credible election. Horiwa demands a strict neutrality from INEC security agencies. Odeyemi Ajishafe raises alarm over alleged missing ballot papers. Olurode predicts a peaceful election. Above the nameplate says that Nigerians will support the party with a proven capacity to deliver good governance in 2027. This is coming from Amao. Abuja at 50 Wiki Remember Institution Legacy, right? And of course, beside the above need place that we have RHI assessing Oluremi's Tinubu's social intervention program 3 years after. And of course, beneath there we have Sokoto UNICEF unveil a 10 years climate resilient education plan. Enugu Police boss criminal syndicate recover 5 AK-47 rifles, 2 pump-action rifles as well. Tinubu, whose diaspora capital, says Nigeria now ready for investment. Nigeria-US conclude talk to deepen counterterrorism cooperation. Private capital policy reforms key to achieving Nigerians' $1 trillion economy target, says expert. And of course, beneath that we have family associate celebrate Albert Wigwe's legacy of banking and nation building.
Okay, that's fine. And we have just one more headline, one more newspaper to go, and that's Saturday Telegraph. Saturday Telegraph, the banner headline there is police deploy drones, 30 mobile units, and restricts vehicular movement. And the sub-riders that we have there is 15,310 additional security personnel sent to states as anxiety mounts. Also, another sub-rider we have there is Force Wants Amotekun, CJTF, vigilante groups, hunters to steer clear. Also, INEC unveils downloadable PVCs for stolen cards. Also, we have EU SDGN raises concerns over results transmission. Also, the sub-rider in that particular headline, we have Tinubu charges security agencies to protect voters and INEC officials. Another headline we have is Atiku challenges Tinubu's qualification for 2027 elections. And the sub-rider there is Ask INEC to produce president's form. Alleges president submitted NYSC discharge certificate bearing Tinubu Bola Adekunle. And another headline we have there just beneath the banner headline is NUPRC plans crude swap to boost local refineries, can cut costs. Says 53.7 million barrels supplied to local refiners in second quarter. And then above the masthead, we have alleged cover-up. Pilot doctored black box after botched Asaba landing. And that's by NSIB. And then the subwriter we have there is raises the alarm over trend of pilots destroying flight data out of fear of sanctions. Also, another headline just above the masthead as well is 6 years on, Burna Boy's twice as tall surpasses 2 billion streams globally. And beneath that we have gunmen intercept 18 seater bus, abduct 17 travelers in Benue. Also, we have NLC, ITUC, kleptocracy is war against Nigerians. And that's all we can take on our newspaper review. But before we go, we have to let some of our guests in the studio and, of course, virtually help us analyze one or two of these stories. Joining us in the studio today, we have Dr. Peter Anosike. He is a philosopher, development economist, and best-selling author. He's also an erudite commentator on economy, finance, politics, and power. I'm glad to have you join us, sir.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah. Also, we have joining us virtually, we have Eze Luce Esquire, attorney at law and public and political affairs analyst. Glad to have you join us, Eze Luce.
Yeah, thank you very much for the invite.
I was almost going to say Barrister Luce.
I will still actually say Barrister Luce. He knows I'm still going to tell him that.
Yeah. Also, we have from our Benin studio, we have Bobby Egosa. He's a public and political affairs analyst. And of course, we have Kenneth Wire. He is a public and political affairs analyst. Let me come to you first, Anosike, for you to just pick one of these stories that we mentioned during the newspaper review and let you analyze them.
Pick the first paper that you read, that's Punch, and on Osun election.
But Anosike, that's one of our topics, so you might want to.
Okay. Then I'll talk about the Tinubu trying that to woo foreign investors.
Okay.
As far as I'm concerned, it is only somebody who got his money in a fraudulent way that will want to invest in Nigeria as we speak.
Wow.
Because no good investor can put his money in a country where there's epileptic power supply, where there's insecurity, and where judiciary is cash and carry. Understand me? So for me, this is not the right. I'm a patriotic Nigerian. I love Nigerian. I'm proud of being a Nigerian. And if there's a reincarnation, I will still ask God to make me a Nigerian. But this is the wrong time to invest in Nigeria because wrong people are in power. Wrong people are in power. It's only somebody who got his money in a fraudulent way and just trying to see how to spend it without security agencies tracking his money that will come and say that he's investing in Nigeria under this condition. So for me, it is a waste of time.
Oh, wow. It's a waste of time. That's by Dr. Anosike. And let me come to you, Mr. Luce. Which of the headlines would you want to analyze before we move on?
Thank you very much. What piqued my interest was in the Punch newspaper, the soldiers who were killed by the Lakura terrorists, and also the women who have to sell their properties. When I look at that event and I see the amount of armory and equipment the police is deploying in Osun State, helicopters, drones, and all that stuff, one begins to wonder, do we have these things actually?
Yes,
do we have helicopters and drones? Why are they not? It was a worry. I never knew that we had this number of helicopters and drones in the Nigerian police force. So I hope that they up their game and are able to actually use their resources for what it is intended to We can't have our soldiers and policemen who are tackling terrorism killed and slaughtered as if they are immaterial. We need to deploy these things to protect and not just to rig elections. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Luce. Thank you. Let's have one of our guests from our studio, our Benin studio. I'm sure they're ready for us to have a take on this newspaper review before we move on from this particular segment.
Of course, good morning.
Yeah, good morning, Bobby.
My take is on the ongoing Osun election.
Okay, so sorry to cut you, Mr. Bobby. I would like to cut you here. Osun election is one of our talking points, so I would need you to just analyze any other story aside from the Osun election, which is one of the things we're going to be delving into just in a bit.
Okay, as we progress, I would like to look at the issue of the security challenges that we are facing. I like to look at part of the issue of the security challenges that we are facing. The security reports that we've been getting from Guardian newspaper and the Telegraph. Nigerians want to know what the security situation is and how plans are being made to alleviate some of the security challenges that is actually bedeviling some strategic parts of the country, especially the north. So that is of paramount interest to Nigerians just now, because an average Nigerian wants to be in a position where he or she can be able to sleep with his or her two eyes closed. So I think that is actually one of the major talking points that I want to analyze this morning, to the admiration of Nigerians and to the glory of God Almighty. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for all of your take on this. We'll take a quick break, and when we return, we'll delve into our conversations. Please do stay with us.
Big news this year. Your favorite Voice of the People television station is now on free to air on Nigecomsat. All you need to do is align your dish using the following: orbit position 40.5 degrees east, 12.685 gigahertz, 30,000 kilobytes per second. Polarized vertical, frequency 2, 12.731 gigahertz, symbol rate 26,250 kilobytes per second. Polarization H. This works on any decoder. Catch up to 100 channels, sports, movies, news, all for free. This is with better quality at no extra cost. VOP TV on Free TV. Now you have more than a voice.
In a world where power shifts with every headlines, news breaks and events happen.
Glad to have you join us. It's still the Morning Buzz on Voice of the People television, and thank you for staying with us. Tension is mounting in Osun State as voters head to the polls today to elect the next governor amid fresh controversies surrounding the conduct of the election. Governor Dimola Adeleke's campaign council has raised an alarm over the alleged last-minute replacement of some independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) presiding officers and other election officials, expressing concerns about the transparency of the process. The campaign council has also condemned the reported release of an APC candidate, Babatunde Festus Komolafe, who it alleged was arrested alongside supporters in Ife, Wara, after a gun was reportedly found in their campaign vehicle during a Navy search. Allegation has not been independently established. Meanwhile, INEC says delays in the distribution of sensitive election materials were linked to the reproduction of ballot papers and result sheets following a court order that led to the inclusion of the Social Democratic Party candidate, bringing the number of parties contesting the election to 15. The election is also taking place against the backdrop of the People's Democratic Party's absence from the ballot, following its prolonged internal crisis. The faction backed by FCT Minister Nyesom Wike says Governor Deleke's withdrawal from the party's nomination process left the PDP without a candidate for the election, while rejecting claims that a recent Court of Appeal judgment automatically recognized another faction or candidate. Adeleke is now contesting under the Accord Party with APC's Bola Oyebamiji and ADC's Najim Salam among the major contenders in a race being closely watched as a significant political test ahead of the 2027 general elections. President Bola Tinubu has charged INEC and security agencies to ensure a free, fair, and peaceful election while urging security personnel to protect voters and electoral officials. To help us analyze this story, joining us in the studio, we have Dr. Peter Anosike. He is a philosopher, development economist, and best-selling author. He's also an erudite commentator on economy, finance, politics, and power. Also, we have virtually Eze Eluche Esquire, an attorney at law and a public and political affairs analyst. Also, from our Benin studio, we have Bobby Egosa. He is a public and political affairs analyst. Also, we have Kenneth Wire, a public and political affairs analyst. Also, we have Solomon Idiogbe, a public and political affairs analyst. And all of these analysts will be helping us, unpack, Osun elections and also whatever conversation we'll be having today. Let me come to you first, Dr. Anosike. Osun election has finally come. It looks like this is a very much anticipated election. And today we have the election. I want to ask, before we even get to begin to see videos of some things that are happening, today, for you, what would be the biggest threat to today's election?
For me, the election is already messed up.
Okay.
The election is already messed up. So when INEC talk about their willingness to conduct credible election, I always say it is not INEC alone that has the responsibility of conducting credible elections. There are other agents or factors, understand? Or the security, the political parties, and the masses. So the election is already messed up without even INEC stepping in. When you see how they are buying and distributing money, understand? That's which they call vote buying, understand? For me, I don't see, if I have my vote and on Thursday you give me money, you cannot say that you have bought my vote. Understand me? So I can say the way they are distributing money. And you can also hear Accord Party and the APC talking about the number of their members that have been killed. Accord Party said that 19 of their members have been killed. APC said that 30 of their members have been killed. Why INEC has not really stepped in? So this, and we've not even seen what the security agencies would do. So as far as I'm concerned, the nation has already fallen below standard. Why the day of the nation has not even come? So, and all these things, the militarization of the nation started from Bola Tinubu's statement that all is fair in politics. Understand me? That's just go in, that's a Machiavellian principle. Do whatever you can, just win. And that's why everybody's carrying gun, everybody's carrying, so for me, the nation has already failed. The nation has already failed.
Wow. That's, the Anosike is saying that the election has failed even before it started. But let me come to you, Barry. Well, I was going to say barrister. Permit me if I use barrister at some point. Mr. Eluche, let me come to you. One of the the accusations, if I could use that word, that the campaign council has made is that some of the officials have been changed, and you begin to wonder, why does last minute changes? How would even the voters be able to identify or be able to really know if these changes are administrative or if they are something else? You know, when you look at all of this, what do you make of what would happen today, or what is happening today, really?
Well, thank you very much. I think when the Osun State government talks about changes in INEC officials, they are backing up the wrong tree. That should not be the concern as of now. I mean, they are officials, they are officials. There is no guarantee that the previous ones would have done better. So if INEC did change electoral officials, that is an internal administrative issue. What should have been more, what is more cogent is the issue of the over-militarization of the election process. The police announced that they have over 15,000 personnel, including an AIG, a DIG, and several commissioners of police in the state. I mean, and I saw videos of convoys of armored personnel carriers, soldiers dancing, singing war songs, policemen singing war songs and chanting war songs as they were patrolling the streets of some parts of Osun State. That should be the worry, because what that is doing is to scare off eligible voters. Scare off voters, it doesn't give them any confidence, because they already know that these personnel, these military personnel who have arms, who have allegiance wrongly to the president of the country, I mean Mr. Bola Tinubu, and then these people are just coming to overraw the state. And then it's rather sad, because this same IG of police, this who is sending all these 15,000 men to Osun State, about 2-3 weeks ago, he visited the Osun State government, the official governor in the government house, and issued threats to the governor. Told him that the governor was harboring wanted elements within the government house. When I saw that video, I was wondering, why didn't the governor of the state, Adeleke, walk out IGP district from his office at that time, from his house? Because that was an insult by an appointed official against an elected official. Adeleke should have walked out the IGP of police and realized that the police as an institution was now coming to Osun State for war. And that is what they have done. They have decided on the state, and they are going to cause mayhem. In other elections, when the police arrive, what they do, they are the ones that actually rig the polls. They are the ones that carry and snatch ballot boxes with arms. Because otherwise, the people will resist ordinary folks who come with arms. But the people that come to lift and snatch ballot boxes are usually uniformed personnel, either police or the military. And that is what I suspect will happen in this instance. And it's so sad that we keep on going around these circles. And the real rigging will happen, because as you will see that in most of the polling units, they will not produce the forms with which you have to register the votes cast. INEC will always find reasons and excuses. This has been the pattern for a very long while, that they will bring ballot papers, it will be insufficient, then they will bring some forms, but they will never bring the EC8, where the results are written. And that is where the whole issues will be modeled up, and the votes will be written somewhere else. The votes cast will be something else. So we should by now move beyond this era of having a day to say this is a day for elections. And the opposition parties should begin to strategize on how to confront this evil, because this is the same thing that will play out come 2027. We should stop this last minute alarms of they've changed units, they've changed that, when the pattern has been established. I was expecting more from the Osun State government. Now that this election is already taking place today, in no time you'll be hearing results of violence, of shootings, because those who have been caught, even in the previous elections, those who killed in previous elections have not been prosecuted. So there is no guarantee that even what the police is doing there is meaningful. The police, in my own estimation, has only come in to ensure that the ruling party and ruling at the state and the federal level gets re-enthroned. My final take on this is this. The government should realize that when you make peaceful change impossible, you have only made violent change inevitable. And consistently, the government of Bola Tinubu is approaching that maximum, that extent, where when they make peaceful change impossible, they make recourse to violence impossible. Because I mean that is almost what they make it like what will be the next turn of events. Because the people cannot prepare for elections, come out to vote, and you bring some policemen and soldiers to come and harass them. If they decide to fight back, what happens? It will be mayhem. And we are definitely approaching that level. And I hope that there will be more sanity in the system and that the police will restrain themselves because they are now the real politicians. The only difference is that they have guns and the Accord Party and the ADC don't have guns. But the APC has been militarized and they now have the backing of the police. And it shouldn't be so. It shouldn't be so. We should stop prevaricating around the world. We should stop prevaricating and thinking that when the police arrive, they will make a change. They will not. In Adamawa State during the last gubernatorial elections, I'll give an example. They took a police officer, a police commissioner from Imo State to go and serve as election commissioner of police in Adamawa State. What did the rascal do when he got to Adamawa State? He colluded with some officials to announce an election and announce somebody else as governor, despite what was decided by the votes. And then what the police did not even sack the idiot. I'm calling him that name specifically because when you begin to do criminal acts, yes, I'm coming. They didn't sack this rascal element. They rather redeployed him back to Imo State to continue to serve as a commissioner of police. So when you see these policemen in their uniforms and you think that because they have guns, they're going to be altruistic, no, it's not the reality. Election is not a war game. Election is people should be allowed to go and cast their votes. And when they cast their votes, the votes should be announced. I wish the people of Osun State the very best. I wish that as they cast their votes, they remain there, they remain steadfast and count their votes. After counting your votes, after the votes are counted, you forward it by WhatsApp or whatsoever. You escalate it to the collation centers where your party has arranged for the votes to be collated. And let the real votes be announced. And let them see whether this police shenanigans and the APC will want to upturn the will of the people. That is the way forward. That is how elections should be organized. And not to try to disarm the people by show or force. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Barrister. From what I hear you say, you are actually very, very bothered about militarization of our elections. Let me come to you, Solomon. You know, one of the things that Atiku, one of the warnings recently he talked about when he was talking about this election, he warned against the militarization of our elections. And that has always seemed to be like the case, what we get to have over time, that our elections, you know, get to have so many military officers, so many police, security officials, really, you know, on the streets of whatever state it is that we're having these elections. And recently, the IGP, still on the Osun election, the IGP said the police is apolitical, they're non-partisan. When you look at all of this and what you see, would you really say that our police is actually apolitical in this Osun election?
It's obvious. Like my brother would say, the happenings in Osun State today is as clear as Mene Mene Tepe of a sea. Very audible to the deaf and very visible to the blind. I'll give you a case in point. Imagine a case in point, a Edo State governor carrying his riffraffs, thugs, to Osun State. If you don't have the video, I can send it to you. Making videos with police officers telling Osun people that they have come to smoke out the governor of Osun State and that he will learn a new thing, and was bragging with array of police officers around with their gun truck. I saw their gun truck there. That was already an election rigged before its actual conduct. And that's why I want to agree with Oganosike that the election obviously seemed to be rigged. But I think that the Osun people will resist them because the show of arrogance, and you know, they call it, police call it show of force. It's the show of arrogance and rascality. It's too much on the side of the ruling party. They have no respect for other political associates. They have no respect for the rule of law, and they have no respect for electorate. It sounds as if they are the deciding factor. How can somebody live at those? You are not a voter in Edo State, in Osun State. You are not registered in Osun State. You are not resident in Osun State. You went with a full convoy, load of both policemen and thugs to go do what in Osun, and they are escorted by policemen and the other security agencies. So, to me, it's a complete show of failure. And the INEC in itself has also shown willingness to conduct free, credible elections. Because a free and fair election starts because election is not just a conduct, it's a process. It starts from before the election. All the activities accumulated towards this today, Saturday, is a note to show that because like one of them, the one they usually refer to as not mind them, I said, we are going to smoke that idiot Adeleke. You are referring to an executive governor of a state as though you are referring to an individual. Just because you came in with another governor who has no business being there, rather than serving his state and attending to political issues and economic issues or delivering democratic dividend to his people. You are in Osun State going to make noise and make issues out of it. So for me, I think it is our time because Oga mentioned something. How many of the people that have been involved in electoral violence, whether you call it ballot box snatching, buying of votes, or whatever manner of electoral irregularity, how many of them have been arrested and prosecuted? Prosecution to the extent that there are convictions that will serve as deterrent to others who are planning. But when people do things and they get away with it, it is commonly said, evil thrives when good men refuse to speak. And those who accept evil passively are as guilty as the perpetrators of evil. Therefore, INEC is also an accomplice in the act of rigging elections because when you do not prosecute the prosecution, conviction, or creating a free, credible elections for the people is within the powers and the regulations of the INEC to set the ball rolling properly for the people to have a what actually creates room for voters' apathy. It's all this nonsense you are saying by this shenanigan. When people threaten the peace of a place, the normal voters will be afraid to come out. And when voters do not come out, these rascally politicians use it as an avenue to rig elections. They begin to allocate votes to Peter, Paul, John, and Christopher. And that's actually what they intend to do. And I expect the Osun people to come out and resist this miscreant, parading themselves as politicians. How can the president of a state tell you that everything is same in politics? So killing is same. Stealing of ballot box and rigging election is same. We must address issues the way they should be. So for me, I think it's a call to INEC to wake up to its responsibility of conducting free, fair, and credible elections, starting with this Osun State, so that we can see that they are really ready to do 2027 elections.
Okay, well, you've called on the INEC to actually ensure that they give us free, fair, and credible elections. Even the president has also called on INEC, really, to ensure they conduct free, fair, and credible election. But let me come to you, Bobby. You know, one of the things he talked about while he was speaking, he talked about, you know, INEC doing the needful and using Osun State election as a yardstick for us to really know how prepared they are come 2027. But Bobby, while I was reading, you know, the script earlier, I talked about the fact that an APC, there's the campaign council has also, you know, talked about or reported or condemned the reported release of an APC candidate who allegedly was arrested alongside supporters in Ifewara after he had a gun found in his during the Navy search. Now, when you see things like that, when you hear things like that, as someone who was arrested because he had a gun and he's now been released just at the eve of the election, wouldn't that bring you know, the voter apathy that we are talking about? These citizens, when you look at the atmosphere, you would say that citizens might be scared. Wouldn't this really make them, you know, more scared and prevent them from coming out, you know, today to do the needful?
Of course, yes. It will make an average voter in Osun State scared as a result of the fact that the trajectory in our political annals and history in Nigeria is now promoting this principle of selective justice that is not healthy for any democratic nation to thrive. an average voter in Osun might not be encouraged to even come outside when he or she hears that somebody that was arrested and found wanting in possession of a gun, in possession of a firearm, has been released on the eve to the elections that is currently happening in Osun State today. If you look at the statistical data of how elections have been conducted, you will discover that less than 25% of Nigerians holistically have consistently come out to cast their ballots from 2011 till date. In Osun State, Osun people, they are very politically aware, they are sagacious, they are politically conscious of the happenings currently in the state. But what we are seeing is that we are seeing a situation where there is now a selective justice system that gives brazen impunity for the ruling class at the national level to wade into the political processes of Osun State elections, to wanting to create a mileage for themselves, bring all manner of socio-political rascality, thuggery, agberuism, and all forms of negativity into the electoral process, in bringing their talks, even when they are found wanting, they will still go behind closed doors to talk to these security agencies that are releasing these persons to release this person. And what that portends for the election and the entire process is that Osun people, and by extension, Nigerians are already seeing the handwriting on the wall politically. They are already smelling foul play. Many persons are envisaging that the elections are going to be rigged. And the chief security officer of Osun State, Ademola Adeleke, should also stamp his authority and ensure that some of all these riffraffs, some of all these charlatans are brought to book. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu Asiwaju should also know that this is a political litmus test, not just for his personality as the president of the Federal Republic, but for the integrity of our electoral processes under his administration. The president should rise up to the occasion from the fact that political statements should not be used as a yardstick to offcode some hidden truth. Because many persons are saying that the president is on one hand saying that the elections are going to be free, fair, and credible. But what we are seeing in the build-up to the elections and currently during this election process is that nothing seems to be free, fair, and credible. If a thug can be arrested with a gun in his hand and released on the eve of the election, what are they expecting the entire electoral process to be? What becomes of the electoral outcome from these electoral processes? And it boils down to what my brother said, Solomon Idiogbe, that these shenanigans should not be allowed to continuously thrive in the historical annals of our nascent baby democracy. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is originally from Osun State. Let's not forget that fact. The onus also lies on him to ensure that he makes his word become his bond. Because in a situation where the outcome may be different from what the president made, it boils down on the electoral integrity of INEC. It begins to question the integrity of Mr. President. It begins to question the integrity of our electoral processes. Nigerians are tired of constant rigging of elections. And this is part of what we also observed in Edo State on the 21st of September 2024, when during the build-up to the elections, we started seeing political theatrics, calisthenics from the ruling class. Many governors started coming into the state. We started seeing security agencies barricade the state headquarters of the Independent National Electoral Commission, which many Nigerians have hugely and largely criticized of not being independent. INEC is no longer independent. And when you make peaceful change unattainable, then violent change becomes inevitable. And that is why we are saying that if they continue like this, the good people of Osun State might resist this brazen impunity, this socio-political rascality that is bedeviling the electoral processes in Osun State. Nigerians are watching. The world is watching what is going on in Osun State. Nobody is taking sides. All we are saying as unbiased umpires, as people that belong to the court of public opinion, we are calling on INEC to ensure that the the electoral processes are free, fair, and credible, then the security agencies should not be found complicit with the ruling class. In a situation where we are now having political romance between security agencies and the ruling class at the national level, calls for sincere worries, concerns, and questioning by all well-meaning Nigerians at this point. And this is also a political litmus test ahead of the 2027 general elections. Nigerians do not want to hear that during the build-up to the 2027 general elections, we are now seeing political theatrics in Osun State. The electoral outcome should reflect the collective dreams, yearnings, and aspirations of the good people of Osun State.
Okay, Bobby, let me come in here.
Elections are created as avenues for people to actually choose their representatives. And if the good people of Osun State cannot get this at this point in time, what is now the guarantee that the 2027 presidential elections are going to be free, fair, and credible? So it comes
thank you, Solomon. Solomon. Bobby. I'm sure yes, you are talking out of passion, but I will still there's still more room for you to air your views and analyze these stories. But let me go to Barrister Ezeluche. But before I come to you, there's a report from Atakumosa East local government, specifically Ward 4, Ikperindo. According to eyewitnesses on ground, a locally made gun was retrieved from an alleged APC tag identified as Ojo Asa just moments ago. This is ongoing today, and the weapon has since been handed over. The matter has been officially reported to the Ikperindo Police Division. Barrister, let me come to you. When you look at this, I talked about the fact that earlier on, the campaign council of the governor, of the present incumbent governor, complained about the fact that someone who was an APC member who had a gun was arrested and now has been released. And now we see allegedly another report by an APC tag with a gun. It just begins to, it begs the question, what exactly is the problem? Why is it that it looks like our elections have become a do or die affair, really?
Yes, I'm watching the yes.
Go ahead, Barrister.
The South is you can't give what you don't have. That is the reality. You simply cannot give what you don't have. We have a situation whereby Mr. Bola Tinubu, who came into office, we had very corrupt election process. He's now the president at the time when we're expecting free and fair elections. It doesn't happen that way. So what is going on in Osun State is not expected. I just hope the killings or the violence will be minimal, because it's a foretaste of what will happen in 2027. I will simply just to be more adept, to be more realistic, because it's not the Nigerians are already convinced on what to vote for. But will the police, will the military, will the instruments available to Mr. Bola Tinubu, who has said everything is fair in politics, allow for free and fair elections? The answer is no. So Nigerians have to find a way, a means to ensure that their votes get counted and released and announced. And in fact, you see, the worst kind of robbery is when you rob your way into political office. An armed robber will only maybe rob a bank or rob a house and steal the money in those places. But when an armed robber robs his way into governor's house or the presidential villa, he seizes the entire wealth and personnel of the state. He steals everything, the present, the future, and the past of the country. So with the same vehemence with which we approach armed robbers or pickpockets on the street, we should adapt more vehemence in tackling electoral criminals, people who try to steal votes by electoral means. So the Osun State, everybody should be safe in that state. Clearly, the police has shown that they are ready for war, but people should ensure that they are somehow their votes get counted and they ensure that the person they voted for wins. And let me mention, when I said I mentioned about the person that was sent to Adamawa State, who participated in an illegal act, the Commissioner of Police. His name is Muhammad Barde. The same Muhammad Barde was redeployed to Imo State after his antics, his criminality was exposed in Adamawa State. And during his period as governor of Imo State, all mayhem was let loose because you have an impure character as the Commissioner of Police. So, in fact, extrajudicial killings mounted in the state. So I'm calling on people of Osun State. You have a similar issue before you. Make sure you go out there and vote. Cast your votes. And as much as you can, defend your votes. The world is watching. And the world now knows what this same INEC chairman, who keeps on talking about free and fair elections, which we know is impossible because of even the way he was brought into office. So Osun State, I wish you guys the best, and try your very best to secure your state, because these guys are out to steal, loot, and destroy. In Mr. Bola Tinubu's words, the way they win elections, they will snatch and run away with it. Even if they snatch it, don't let them run. Keep them, because what is at stake is the next 4 years for the people of Osun State, and we can't throw it away with that kind of destiny. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much. Let me come to Dr. Nosike. Dr. Nosike, Barrister just said Osun people should ensure they do the needful. I don't know if that's your take as well. Especially when you put it side by side with the video we've watched of someone who has been, who has been caught with a gun. It just shows you, the atmosphere really. You made mention of it earlier while you were speaking, that even before the election, we've seen how the build-up, the tension had built up over time. So for you, would you also go with what Barrister is saying and say the Osun State should do everything that they need to do to ensure that their mandate is what, prevails at the end of the day?
What is at stake here is the destiny and the future of a people. What is at stake is the destiny and future of Osun State people in particular and Nigeria as a whole. Because if they succeed in Osun, they want to use it throughout 2027. So the resistance has to start from Osun. Understand me? The resistance Osun people should make sure that they don't give up. They should make sure that they don't give up. They should make sure that the vote counts. For me, I don't really care who wins. Understand? Provided that the vote reflects that's the win of the people. Understand me? I lost interest and confidence in Adeneke the moment he said that he saw that a court party will support Tinubu in 2027. That is when he lost my sympathy. Understand me? So I don't really care who wins in Osun State today. My concern is let the people's vote count. Understand? Because if they succeed in Osun, they will take it to 2027. My concern is, one, the process has already failed. Starting from the statement that Bola Ahmed Tinubu made, which had engineered all these guns you are seeing. When a leader tells you that all is fair, do whatever you can, Machiavelli, the end justifies the means. Understand? That is a call to war. That is a call to arm. And that's what the president did. And that's what, and the senator followed suit. Imagine a senator of a federal republic saying, kill every Accord party member wherever you see them. His own people kill them wherever you see them because of 48 months. So for me, Osun people should go out and vote and make sure that they stand and protect their votes. This is a preparation for 2027. Understand me? This is a process, and this is the only election this Amopito is going to conduct so far. All those ones in Ekiti was a one-horse race. Understand me? So this is his first election. So we can judge him from what happened in Osun State and not what happened in Ekiti. Because the opposition in Ekiti, we are saying that police did not even allow them to mount their billboards. Understand? So Osun, and in Osun, the ruling party was also in power there. So it was just a one-horse race. So the only election that we can use to test the capacity of this current INEC chairman is the one happening in Osun. But the process has already been messed up. The process has already been messed up. So it is now behold on the Osun people to come out en masse and vote whoever they want. Understand? So for me, I don't care who wins. All I want is that let it be free, and that's let the people's vote count.
You don't care who wins, but your
No,
the most important thing.
Adeneke messed up by endorsing
I'll come back to you for that particular statement because I really have some questions on that. But let me go to our Benin studio and let's hear from Kenneth Wire. I'm glad to have you join us, Kenneth. Let me hear from you. You've seen the videos. You've seen the videos of this. The video we showed earlier on about the gun, and then build up to this election. We've seen how tensions have been built up, and one of the things that Nosike said, and also Barrister also made mention. Even Solomon Idiogbe, even Bobby as well mentioned it. They talked about the fact that the president, had said that all is fair in politics. When you put his statement of all is fair in politics side by side with his call yesterday to INEC to ensure a free, fair, and credible election, and even his call to the security agencies to ensure that they protect the INEC officials and even the voters, would you say that it is, a case of the president speaking with his two mouths, or speaking from the two sides of his mouth?
Well, you've rightly said it. He's actually speaking with two sides of his mouth, because his initial statement, the first one of the initial first letter go, is what we are seeing come to play now. When he said that all is fair in politics, it means that whichever way you use to actualize this victory, do it. All is fair in politics. That is why the senator, Senator Fadawunsi, first of all, I wonder how he became a senator in the first place. Unfortunately, under APC as a government, anything and anybody can become an honorable. Even those who cannot even pass pharmacies, those who cannot pronounce figures, those who cannot read, all sorts of people, agboros. These are the kind of people that the APC government, unfortunately, is not favoring. If you are a technocrat, an industrialist, somebody who thinks, well, the APC government is forbidden to associate with you, because automatically, no matter how intelligent you are, as soon as you mingle with APC, the first thing they do is to temper with your sound reasoning. You refuse to think normal. So because of the statement of Mr. President that all is fair in politics, that was what enabled that senator, to make that careless statement. Come to think of it, if there would be another political party, shifting, that made that statement, you will see now, the police will now know that there is something they call cyberbullying, cyberstalking, and they'll go after such a person. But as far as it is somebody from APC, like one politician said, he said, no matter how your sins are, as soon as you enter APC, your sins automatically are forgiven. I don't want to mention his name, because very recently has been representing us in the Senate. Well, you understand? So that is where we found ourselves. And that same statement too gave room to that candidate of APC in one of the local governments in Osun. He was caught red-handed with a gun. What did they do? When the policemen held him, there were high-power calls coming from all corners of the country that he should be released. And according to the police statement, that high pressure was on them, and they had no other choice than to release him. What does that tell you? They are acting on what their father at the top, or like they call him, Oga at the top, has told them. Now, do everything necessary, even including, like he said before in the summer election, he said when he was contesting for presidency, he said snatch the ballot box if necessary. He said he should grab it and run. This is somebody who must be known, to win whatever he's contesting for with every means or measure necessary. So I don't blame these boys when they are acting like he's doing. You understand? So it's very unfortunate. Like I say every time, permit me to dive into, pidgin slangs. As a worry boy. They say now when tree fall, or house fall, now goats they climb on. So this democracy woman they managed before, he reached Tinubu turn, he spoil am yakata. He fall the fence. So now ghosts don't decline. Anything now is not possible in Nigerian democracy, which is very, very, very unfortunate. And INEC is just another extension or arm of APC. They do the bidding of the president. Joroja Rajo, no break, no jar, no sense. Anything he tells them is what they do. It's regrettably unfortunate that the democracy that people like Nnamdi Azikiwe, Anthony Nauro, and great minds they fought for and achieved and toiled to achieve. This is what, somebody like Ahmed Tinubu, who claimed to have fought for Nigerian democracy, is just destroying. He's just destroying. Now, if this can happen in Osun election, which is supposed to be a forerunner for our 2027 election, I wonder what will now happen. Now, I want to ask a question. About 40,000 police personnel were deployed to Osun honorary state election. 14,000. How many police do we have in the entire Nigeria? A DIG is there. About 3 AIGs are there. And 14,000 personnel. Still, one individual was able to smuggle a gun into that place. Only God knows how many guns now on ground there. And they got him and they could not still prosecute him or bring him to book. It means that others who have such intention will now, take trembling and say they caught him and nothing happened to him. Therefore, they can still perpetuate their evil intent. Look at these towels, this refresh from Edoya where I stay. Don't mind them and the one they call Egogo. In the front of police officers, they were doing video and be saying that, yes, look at policemen. They have come now. They want to smoke Adeleke out. Shebi Adeleke insulted the governor of Edo State. They are here now to smoke him out. The video is this, the video is that. These are careless statements. And the police were seen walking majestically, parading their guns in the video. What kind of impunity is that? It has never been this bad in Nigerian democracy. We have never had this bad before. What is it? What is it?
Kenneth, that's a good place.
Clandestine approach by the APC is the consistent resistance of the opposition. When APC was in opposition, PDP let them breathe. Nobody intimidated them or shocked them like this.
Okay, Kenneth.
When it got to their turn, they will not let anybody rest.
Okay, Kenneth.
Dividing and attacking everybody. It is very, very unfortunate.
Yeah, that's a very...
I just put that this scandal of the president, they buy his certificate and all the moves to EU and the rest. Though I know we're going to get there in the course of this discussion. Let it work. He's not fit to be our president.
Okay, Kenneth.
He cannot be governed or led by a man like this. He's very unfortunate. I'm ashamed. I'm ashamed.
Okay.
Nigeria is a huge joke and does not deserve somebody like Bola Tinubu to be our president. We are now in mockery in the Committee of Nations.
Okay, Kenneth. Kenneth, let me come in here. It's actually a fine place to leave this particular discussion, and you've actually taken us over from our first conversation and into a tidbit of what we have to discuss the next conversation. Article 6, Tinubu's disqualification over forgery claim. Sit tight and we'll discuss this after this break. Just stay with us.
Big news is here. Your favorite Voice of the People television station is now on free to air on Nigecomsat. All you need to do is align your dish using the following: orbit position 40.5 degrees east, 12.685 gigahertz, 30,000 kilobytes per second. Polarized vertical. Frequency 2, 12.731 gigahertz. Symbol rate 26,200. and 50 kilobyte per second. Polarization H. This works on any decoder. Catch up to 100 channels, sports, movies, news, all for free. This is with better quality at no extra cost.
Glad to have you back. It's still the Morning Buzz on Voice of the People Television, and thank you for staying with us. Let's move on to our next conversation. The 2027 presidential race has taken a dramatic legal turn as former Vice President and African Democratic Congress ADC presidential candidate Atiku Abubakar has approached the Federal High Court in Abuja, asking it to disqualify President Bola Ahmed Tinubu from contesting the 2027 election over allegations surrounding his National Youth Service Corps NYSC discharge certificate. Atiku and the ADC are challenging the authenticity and constitutional validity of the certificate Tinubu submitted to the Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC), and are asking the court to examine records connected to the president's nomination. The case comes amid renewed controversy over Tinubu's academic and NYSC credentials, with the plaintiffs alleging discrepancies in the documents submitted to INEC. The legal battle is unfolding alongside a separate move to internationalize the controversy as ADC-linked lawyer Carlo reportedly submitted a petition to the European Commission in Brussels concerning allegations over Tinubu's academic credentials and Nigeria's constitutional order. The petition also raises issues surrounding a reported $460,000 for feature, although those claims are likewise disputed and remain allegations rather than established findings. The latest developments revive a controversy that has persisted since the 2023 presidential election, when questions were raised about Tinubu's academic and NYSC records. In June, the Center for Reform and Public Advocacy had also filed a separate suit at the Federal High Court in Kano, seeking Tinubu's disqualification from the 2027 poll over alleged forged academic and NYSC certificates. Still, we still have to analyze these stories with us. We have in the studio Dr. Peter Anosike. He is a philosopher, development economist, and best-selling author. He's also an erudite commentator on economy, finance, politics, and power. Also, we have Eze Eluche Esquire, attorney at law and public and political affairs analyst. Also from our Benin studio, we have Bobby Egobsa, public and political affairs analyst. We also have Kenneth Wire. He is public and political affairs analyst. Also, we have Solomon Idiogbe. He is also a public and political affairs analyst. I'll come to you first, Anosike. You know, this particular issue about the NYSC certificate seems to be brewing every time the election comes close. Before the 2023 elections, this came up. Now again, this is coming up. Do you think that this is an effort in futility by Atiku and the rest of the people who have, taken him to court?
To start with, Nigerians have the right to know what their president is, understand? The schools he attended and his qualification. But I've never seen any government that has shown lack of integrity on the people that we previously respected, like that of Tinubu administration. I've never, it is exposing them on a daily basis. Do you know what Ruben Abati said on this case? That is over 30 years. Why should we be bringing this matter that's up every 4 years? Crime does not grow old. Understand me? That a crime was committed 50 years ago and it remains unresolved has not made that crime to grow old. So Abati was saying, why should we be bringing this matter? It has not been resolved. Then, what is his name? Your aviation minister, Festus Kiyamo, said that Tinubu is a superman and supermen don't go to primary school and secondary school. So imagine how people who we previously had respect for is disgracing themselves. So for me, this matter needs to be resolved because we shouldn't be picking and choosing at the same time. Assuming it is another candidate that submitted his or her credentials without primary, secondary. Understand me? You didn't go to primary school, you didn't go to secondary school. Then we just see NYSC certificate that you are Ahmed. The certificate is bearing Adekunle. How can we agree that this is an individual? 2023, there was a case of somebody graduating before the school he graduated from started. And the person graduated in 1970, the school started in 1974. Understand? So for me, all these issues need to be resolved. It doesn't say anything good about our country. It doesn't say anything good about the image of our country. So the judiciary should make sure that this issue is settled. If let Boname Tinubu bring out his credentials, let it be tested. If it's okay, fine and good. If it's not, the minister from Enugu State, John Nnaji, resigned because of forgery of a certificate. Kemi Adosu resigned over NYSC certificate issue. So this is not a country of animal farm. Everybody should be treated equally before the law. That's my take. So I support those who are seeking for the true identity of the Nigerian president.
All right, Nina, well done. I actually, stayed back to actually enjoy, my colleague here having that particular first round of conversation. All right, let me take it to you, Barrister Izeluche. Good morning to you, Barrister. Barrister, I can't actually stop calling you Barrister, so you have to please unmute your device.
Okay.
All right, so I can hear you loud and clear. So, Barrister, I can't stop calling you that, so you should be used to that by now. All right, let's talk about the case, and of course, let's look at the broader picture. We have name discrepancy on one side when it comes to, the president's name, Adekunle to Bola Ahmed Tinubu, which we have to, talk about as regards to whose fault, is this particular one, who should be held accountable to that particular one, and who should even prove, if the certificate is forged or not. Now, when it comes to that of INEC's, portal, INEC decided to upload, a blank, a form, a form that was, given to them, or perhaps we can't even say it was an oversight, because for them to actually, upload something, it means that they've actually done their proper scrutiny, and we didn't say primary and secondary. This is raising concerns. And of course, that being said, I'd like you to, talk about, a forged certificate and forgery, from the legal perspective as regards to Section 137 of the Nigerian Constitution. I'd like to give me a broader picture. In this particular, a situation where we are, or where we find ourselves, we've had several kinds of forgery, being laced around the ruling party. And the main concerns, while some people are actually saying, why is Alhaji Atiku Abubakar, bringing it up now? Of course, this conversation surfaced in 2023, and afterwards, nothing was done. So should this be, a kind of a visitation or August visit? It is only when, it is the politicking time that someone, should visit such situation, or let them just fix this once and for all. So, Barrister, I'd like you to give me the legal, stand as regards to all of this.
Thank you very much. The issue did not really start in 2023. It started way back in 1999, because I remember that Chief Khalifa also raised this issue and it was a very clear constitutional issue. I mean, sadly enough, when Gani Fahimi raised this issue, that was when Bola Tinubu approached Femi Falana to counter Gani Fahimi. And what they used to settle that issue was towing. Gani Fahimi's car was smashed in the High Court premises, and that was how the case actually petered away. The reality is this: under Section 12 of the NYSC Act, you must serve, you must go through the NYSC system if you want to enjoy employment in either the public or private arm in Nigeria. And working in government is public. So clearly, if you do not serve in the NYSC and you are qualified to serve, you should not only not be employed or be allowed to serve in the public or private, you also commit a crime for which you can go to 2 years imprisonment or pay some fine. So clearly, from Mr. Bola Tinubu's admissions in the past, he is claimed to have left Chicago State University 1989, which means he should have served. 1979, sorry. He should have served because he graduated after the NYSC Act came into being. And having not served, he has clearly committed a crime under Section 13 of the NYSC Act. Now, this is the fact. This is not argument. This is from affidavit evidence of what Tinubu has said about himself. Now, the reality is, why has he not been raised? Why has it not been addressed ever since? And has not addressing it in the past 20 years made it now you cannot raise it up again? No. Because as it's now applying again to become president of Nigeria, that issue comes up automatically. So what Mr. Alhaji Atiku Abubakar and his team are doing is the appropriate thing. We only hope that this time around, Chief Justice Kudina Kekerek, who is the CJN of Nigeria, and the other judges that will be sitting over these issues should use this opportunity to brush out their stained image, because we're a country of flaws. One people mistake is this: they say it is only the NYSC Act. They forget that by Section 315 of the Nigerian Constitution, the NYSC Act is an integral part of the Nigerian Constitution. You can't amend it except by constitutional process. You can't remove it. That is why this joke Mr. Tinubu is doing about changing the structure of the NYSC is amount to nonsense. Because by Section 315 of the Nigerian Constitution, the NYSC Act becomes a part of the Nigerian Constitution. So those who are asking that, has he flouted the Constitution by not doing the NYSC, the answer in simple English is yes. Because NYSC Act being a part of the Nigerian Constitution, and Tinubu not fulfilling the purpose of the Act by serving or showing evidence of exemption from service, he is guilty and should not contest for presidency.
All right, Barrister.
No,
Barrister.
Let me just conclude.
Yeah, because we're pressed for time, I would want you to respond to the Electoral Act situation. Can the Electoral Act, override that of the Section 137, in Constitution? I would like you to respond to that.
No. The Electoral Act gains its credibility from the Nigerian Constitution. That is why I said the NYSC Act is the Constitution of Nigeria.
Okay.
So it cannot be overridden by any portion of any other law.
All right.
That is subsidiary to the Constitution. Which means, before I close on this issue, you talk of externalization of the matter, like somebody taking the matter to the European Union. Let us remember that these same APC characters, in 2015, Muhammadu Buhari led a team which included some state governors, Rochas Okorocha, Adams Oshomole, and the sitting vice president, Kashim Shettima, to go and thank Barack Obama in the White House for helping to force them in Nigeria as rulers. Because clearly it was the Barack Obama regime, Democratic Party, that brought these characters into the country, and they have messed up this country. So there's absolutely nothing wrong with externalizing it. Because already Bola Tinubu has seized Nigeria. He has, by contesting for election and by being in office, he has done a coup against Nigeria. Because what is a coup? A coup is when you rule Nigeria by any other means than what is prescribed in the Constitution. And if the NYSC Act is part of the Constitution, and Bola Tinubu, who did not serve, is ruling Nigeria, that means he himself is a beneficiary of a coup against the Nigerian Constitution. And it is ridiculous that some people have been tried in any place in Nigeria for trying to do a coup against a coup. Because you cannot steal from a thief. This man stole his way into government and he's ruling us. He's messing up Nigeria. And we're still here debating whether he should contest or not. Now, the INEC guy who said he's not facing any issue, any primary school or secondary school, is only mocking himself. already there are existing affidavits that Bola Tinubu has deposed to. Affidavits don't expire. Those affidavits will still be used in this case. And I only appeal to Justice Kudira Kekerek. You have already gotten a stained image by the election petition judgment you ruled in Imo State, which brought this character, Hope Uzodinma, to be governor of Imo State. You have already done bad image on the judiciary by the last election tribunal results, which made Bola Tinubu, who is not qualified.
All right, Barrister, we're pressed for time. All right, Barrister. All right, thank you so much. Thank you so much, Barrister. We're pressed for time. And Barrister, I would also want to employ you to actually, stay with us because we'll be moving to the other side as regards to Osun decide. So
you have a crowded house, my brother. This kind of crowded house is very, very embarrassing. I mean, okay, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah. So, but I want you to stay on the other side where we'll actually talk about Osun, decides today. But let me move to Bobby. Bobby, are you there? Bobby, I'd like to unmute your device if you can hear me. All right, if we can't get Bobby now, can we? Okay, Bobby, good morning to you. All right, Bobby, in just 20 seconds, of course, Bobby, I'm also going to ask you to stay, as well as to join, the other side of conversation as regards to Osun decide. So, Kenneth Wire, same thing to you, and of course, Solomon, we'll be having a robust conversation as regards to that. But I just want everyone to touch up on this particular conversation so we can actually close this particular segment. So I would like to respond to this situation of Atiku, raising the forgery case of the president again.
Of course, it is the right step in the right direction, right? Because this borders on the integrity of our electoral process, and it borders on constitutional affairs as regarding who becomes the president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Till now, many Nigerians are still asking, what primary school did Tinubu attend? What secondary school did he attend? If he attended a university, prior to this time, we got information that he said he went to Chicago State University in 1970, and the school was actually established in 1974. And many Nigerians are asking, did he go to space or the moon, or perhaps heaven to get a BSc in accounting even before the university was established? These are issues that are bordering on the political integrity of us as a country before the international community. So what Atiku is doing is that he is bringing to the consciousness of Nigerians the need for our public office holders to be properly scrutinized, and certification is part of the fundamental requirement that is needed to contest for any elective public office, whether from president, governor, senator, House of Rep, House of Assembly, local government chairman.
All right, thank you so much, Bobby. Thank you so much.
Mr. President should come out.
Thank you so much, Bobby.
Give the true position of it, because the president is yet to even defend himself.
Thank you.
Issue. And I feel and I think that going forward, it is part of what all well-meaning Nigerians should continuously ask. He is a public servant to Nigeria, according to the constitution. So he must be able to tell us is the true state of
thank you so much. Thank you so much, Bobby.
Because this issue of certificate forgery saga is becoming a lingering narrative that should.
All right, thank you so much, Bobby. Because of our time, we can actually take more again. Yes, I would like to go straight to Solomon. Please, in just 20 seconds, I'd like to also react to this particular conversation, and afterwards, Kenneth Wire. Solomon, can we have you now?
I don't like being given seconds to talk because I like to speak to the issues directly.
Regardless, we're pressed for time, so you just have to be lenient with us here.
Did Tinubu actually attended the university? Because what Tinubu is trying to say is that he attended the university using witchcraft. It happened in the witchcraft cover before he came, before he now started. But having said that, what is obvious here is that Tinubu will not be disqualified because it is a case of Omonoyi Bienazen or Ababena Koke. When a thief gives birth to a child for a witch and then a criminal help them to train it. That's the case of the Nigerian state. And then, what do you expect? Look at it. If you look at the whole thing, you are asking the gods to kill the man who did not make who made a bad manager? What about the one that didn't make at all? In this case, people who did not attend university are there. They are grilling them. They've grilled others and they've resigned. But the case of Tinubu is as clear as it should be. And I know that Tinubu did not go to school. You and I know that they are just forging everything. Everything in Nigeria is like nothing is legal in an illegal society.
All right, thank you so much, Solomon.
The basis on which Tinubu
thank you so much, Solomon.
Is illegal.
Thank you so much.
Because when you say one lie, you need another lie to build on top of the lie, for another lie to come to another lie, and it has become a lying thing.
All right, thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Solomon, for that wonderful and energetic, submission. Regardless of the botanical languages you actually, infused in your conversation, but of course, thank you so much. Let me hear from Kenneth Wire before we round off as regards to the conversation. Kenneth, please, in just 20 seconds. Oh, you're back to the glasses. I was almost saying that I saw you talk without the glasses. Go ahead.
He said, thief not get shame, but in family and friends, that they shame on his behalf. Somebody like Tinubu, he should be covering his head in shame, and his family members are supposed to even be advising him. Because for me, I've never seen a character like this man before. As in, everything about this man, everything is fake. Primary school he attended, fake. Secondary school, fake. University, fake. Even his own name, Baba, fake. Imagine a sitting president. You went to tender a certificate of NYSC discharge, and there is Adekunle inside. When did Tinubu start to be Adekunle?
All right.
Adekunle Bakajasin.
Kenneth.
He's a Yoruba name.
All right. Kenneth Wire.
Tinubu to be Adekunle before.
Kenneth Wire.
Even the
all right, Kenneth.
photograph of that very certificate.
Kenneth.
The first person came out, Jonah Duke. He said, "This is me when I was small." Then he said, "Now you be that." I don't know. Another person again came out.
All right, Kenneth.
NYSC certificate.
Kenneth.
How did we get to this place?
All right, so Kenneth, in as much as Kenneth,
you cannot know his family.
All right, Kenneth, thank you so much. Thank you so much for thank you so much for your submission, Kenneth.
Even his classmates, nobody knows his classmates.
All right, that's how far we can actually take as regards to that particular conversation. Nena, that's quite a very a very, should I call it, on a lighter note, but I'd want Kenneth to just understand that until the court, says otherwise, you can't actually, use some assertions, that you're making. But of course, this is how far we can actually go as regards to the Morning Boss. Thank you so much for being part of this particular production. Yes, moving on the other side, we'll be, looking into Osun, a state election, which we would also want you to stay with us all through this particular program. And of course, my name remains Saviour Udo. And don't forget, I'm still here and will still be here. Of course, in just a few minutes, and afterwards, I will be rolling in the next program. Nina.
Yeah, I am Nina Ndumdioto, and of course, I'm still going to be here as well, as we continue to analyze the Osun elections and give you updates as elections go on. Just stay with us, and of course, enjoy the rest of your day as you stay with us.
That 10 seconds you save by crossing the road could cost you your life. Pedestrian bridges are built for one reason: to keep you safe. They are free, they are strong, and they are there to protect you. Dashing across expressways leads to injuries, loss, and grief that last forever. Using the bridge takes less than 1 minute. Losing a loved one lasts a lifetime. Parents, teach your children. Drivers, slow down near bridges. Everyone, please use the pedestrian bridge every time. Your life is worth the climb. This message is from Voice of the People's Television.
When your morning starts, make sure to look around for the right company to serve you everything you need to know about what's happening around you. That's why you need VOP this morning, because we will climb this far to give you a voice in what's going on, from news, reviews, politics and the economy, sports and even entertainment. VOP TV. Now you have more than a voice. Do you want your voice to be heard? Do you know that you matter in the scheme of things? The People's Voice, the show where ordinary citizens take center stage as we discuss the biggest stories that affect you and I. With you in mind, we facilitate lively discussions, debates, and interviews on the topics that matter most to
VOP TV. Now you have more than a voice.
Welcome aboard hashtag on VOP TV. My name is Vivian Oguche, and it's such a pleasure to have you join us. This is where we get to tell you all things trending and all things topical on X. Social media, especially on X. And if this is your first time here, accept a very, very warm welcome from us. Us, because the whole team working together to ensure that this is a flawless production. Also, I'm not flying solo today. I got my colleague again. He is actually a multimedia journalist. He is Anthony Okafor. This is his second rodeo on the show. Teddy, it's good to have you join me again.
Oh, it is quite fantastic to be here.
Yeah.
Thank you for having me once again.
Anytime. You're welcome.
Thank
Guys, if you're game, let's get this show on the road. It is another bombshell that has been dropped. It is hashtag petition. You don't know how former Vice President Atiku Abubakar, who is the ADC presidential candidate, how he employed the services of a lobbyist in the US, and they've been causing serious trouble for President Tinubu. Well, Frank Shaibu, Atiku's aide, media aide, just dropped another bombshell today on X. And now he is actually bringing to the public Barrister Kalu's petition. What's Barrister Kalu petitioning? Who is he petitioning? And where did he take his petition to? Those are billion-dollar questions. So let's find out. We'll take a look at the very first post now. It is Frank Shaibu on X. Frank Shaibu, by the way, is Atiku's media aide. And then we'll take a look first at what Paul Ibe too said. Paul Ibe, by the way, again, is Atiku's media aide. Let's take a look at what he said. Paul Ibe says the issues of President Bola Tinubu's alleged forgery of certificates and documents and forfeiture of $460,000. $460,000. Yeah, linked to heroin trafficking in the United States is not going away anytime soon. Here is Barrister Kalu submitting a petition to the European Commission. That'll be the EU in Brussels on this and Tinubu's threat to our constitutional democracy. This is huge. It is huge. It is a double jeopardy, I can tell you that. There's a video, guys. Take a listen.
Why are you here? Okay, good afternoon all. If you want to know why are you here? Okay, good afternoon all, and good afternoon to the whole world. I am here at the European Commission to submit a petition to the European Union concerning the subversion of constitutional order in Nigeria, where Mr. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has suspended the constitutional order in Nigeria because of his false academic credentials, where he submitted to INEC for the 2027 general elections, and he did not state the primary school and the secondary school he attended, in flagrant violation of the 1999 Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, particularly in section 1371J, that says if you have presented a false certificate to INEC, the Independent National Electoral Commission, you will not be qualified to run election. And he has submitted forged documents, forged certificates to INEC that made him not to be qualified to run for the 2027 general elections. But because they have captured all the paraphernalia of power in Nigeria, he has imposed himself on Nigeria, thereby subverting the provisions of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria as amended, which is a mini coup, a subtle coup against the people of Nigeria. So I'm here to submit a petition to the EU to help restore constitutional democracy in Nigeria. Thank you very much.
Well, you just listened to Barrister Kalu. He did not do this in Lagos or in Abuja. He traveled all the way to Brussels to talk to the people there about what's going on in Nigeria. Tony, before I have netizens jump on this particular one, you heard what the barrister said. Yes, he said it was a suspension of the Nigerian constitution. In fact, he used the word subversion.
To serve you everything you need to know about what's happening around you. That's why you need VOP this morning, because we will climb this far to give you a voice in what's going on, from news, reviews, politics and the economy, sports and even entertainment. VOP TV. Now you have more than a voice.